All right. So now the second containment policy that's going to come out is the Marshall Plan. This was in 1948. The Truman Doctrine was 1947. So this was about a year later that they came out with the Marshall Plan. And basically, for simplicity purposes, the Marshall Plan really isn't a whole lot different than the Truman Doctrine in the sense of what they provided. So the Marshall Plan also provided economic and military support and things of that nature to European nations to help them rebuild after World War II. Really no different than the Truman Doctrine. Again, if we flood these countries with money, then hopefully we can keep them on our side and we can keep those trading partners and things of that nature with us. And if you notice on the map here, all of these dollar symbols represent how much money we gave to those countries, the United Kingdom, France. And you can see all of these countries are on the west side of that Iron Curtain line. So we want to keep as many of those countries protected as we can. And obviously, you can see in the main heart of, not Germany, but in Europe, we spent a lot more money versus, here in Ireland or up here in Iceland, etc. So we're going to pump a lot of money. And obviously, the size of the country, the number of people is going to determine how much money gets put into there. You look at a country, like Portugal here. You look over here with like Greece and Turkey. Obviously, they didn't get nearly as much over here. But again, their populations aren't nearly as big. So this is an expansion of the Truman Doctrine. So what basically an easy way to kind of remember these, the Marshall Plan and Truman Doctrine are both containment policies enacted by the United States in order to stop the spread of communism. The only real difference is that the Marshall Plan basically just expands on that. They're not just focused on Greece and Turkey like the Truman Doctrine was. This is going to basically provide finances and military support to any country that is under the threat. Both of these are meant to stop the spread of communism. If any of these countries feel the threat of communism, all they have to do is call the United States, and the United States will be there to help them and protect them. We're going to act as basically a big brother. The U.S. obviously fears that weak and poor countries will fall. And if all of Europe, if all of this ends up falling under communist rule, that's going to eliminate all of our European trade allies. And that's going to hurt us economically pretty badly. So this is a major, major investment into the long-term success of our economy. Oddly enough, this is very similar to the government just last week passing the $2 trillion stimulus package. They're making an enormous investment in the economy right now in hopes that later on this will balance things out. Obviously, we're going to go into a lot of debt because of this, just like we will with the $2 trillion today. But long-term wise, it's going to help the economy and keep the economy running so that when, in this case, the coronavirus is all over with, that the economy will still be strong and be able to survive. And just like back in 1948, if we dump all this money over there, that'll protect, that'll protect the United States economic interest. We don't want to lose that trade with them because that will devastate us economically. And this is where that battle of finances comes in. Basically, the United States and the Soviet Union are in a spending war right now. Who can spend the most money? Who can outspend the other one? And one of us is going to fall eventually. Obviously, it's not us. So this is where it kind of falls into a money war versus an actual physical using guns, weapons, bombs, things of that nature.